podcast, grab a chair and fill your glass.
Here on WNB One Radio, I'm Charlie Perry, along with my guest Eva Brito from www.evabritto.com. I believe that's what it is. And we're going to talk about a men's retreat that's coming up on October 7th. So she's going to kind of give us the rundown and how we can go about it. It's a soul retreat, something I want to do, something I want to participate in. And as always, I love having my friend on this podcast because, we're both poets, we're both creative, doing our thing. And, but you know what? We never got on the podcast talking about poetry. We got to do that.
This is our first.
We got to do it. So how you doing? How was your day today?
I'm doing well. This is nice to, come and build with you. It's an honor. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be around you, but this is different. This is the first for us, so I'm feeling that.
Exactly. It's funny that since you and I have talked about the retreat, right? So one of my favorite programs is The Shy, right? So that's one thing, The Shy.
Mm-hmm.
And so they talk about, the guys in there, they have their own little soul retreat every day, meet, they talk, and it's all kinds of different, it's a dad, a son, an uncle, a cousin, a brother, a friend, and they're all sitting in and they're talking about different things, one's dealing with a gangster. So the weirdest thing is that every time I see that, I said, man, I should bring that local, or somebody should bring it local, where we would just sit and just talk and rap and build on that mental.
I haven't seen the show, but it sounds like a pretty good show.
I'm gonna have to send you a few clips, video.
Yeah, clips. Is it on Netflix or?
That is, believe it or not, I don't even know.
No, it's not. I'll check it out.
It's one of the cable channels, but I don't think it's Netflix. But that's definitely a good show, and it kind of, I really enjoy it. So let's talk about this brainstorm. How'd you come about it? And
Sure. Yeah, I could definitely share with you regarding the men's retreat. I can give you a little history on how it came to be. About 2 years ago, I had a women's retreat, and that came out of a sacred place of really feeling called to create healing spaces for women, especially women of color, in nature, and where we can build together, we can sing together, we can dance together, things that we've done historically through nature, but just really feeling like, post-COVID and the time and space that we're in, that there was really a need for that. So we had our soul calling retreat, and it was really powerful. The women that attended, we left there really feeling elated, feeling like it just tapped into different places that we hadn't tapped into. And it was different generations of women. Some of them knew each other, some didn't. And just beautiful things happened. Like, I set took a lot of time and planning. I set the blueprint and the framework, but the things that happened in between was just at times really magical. And I led some of the sessions, and I also got other practitioners, movement therapists, sound therapists, just to come together and create this one day women's retreat. And we left there feeling like I would talk to women and be like, I'm still on that high from that retreat. So that, that was kind of the vibe we left with. So, I was excited about that, but sometimes like you go in God guides you in a path and you don't know, you think you know where it's going, but you sometimes don't. So after the retreat, when my sister reached out, as well as a couple other women, were like, why don't we have this retreat for the men in our lives? Our husband needs this, our brothers need this, our sons need this. Like, that powerful experience should not only be for us. And at first, when I was told that, one of the women reached out. I want to get, Jennifer DeBarros as well, was like, this is something that's really important. I respect her as a friend and as a thought partner.
Yes.
And she was like, why aren't the men having this experience? And also some of the women that did attend, they felt like they went back to their partners, their husbands, their boyfriends, whoever in their lives, and they were feeling this high, and they expressed that to those individuals, and they couldn't really relate, right? You can't,
Mhm.
it's something that, unless it's experiential, like you can talk about something that was amazing, but if you can't experience it yourself, you can't really feel it. So she was like, I want him to experience it because I'm really feeling compelled to build on our family in a different way within our home and all these things that some of these women shared, but they felt like their men needed that. So it's a beautiful seed that was planted from the women in it. That's, to me, it's so beautiful because women, women, the carriers of the womb, the carriers of light that breathe light into this world. They shed that light to say, hey, like, let's really expand this to be a collective, a community healing. And at first, when they said it, I was really kind of like, I don't know, let me think about it, because that wasn't something that I had really done before. I mean, I'm a licensed social worker. I've done a lot of work with women, but not so much with men as much. So I was like, is that really my lane to do that? But I meditated on it and really thought about it. And I said, this is really about raising our consciousness. It's collective healing. And if we're really going to do that work, then, and what my retreats are based on, our retreats are based on, is Afro-Indigenous roots. And that's what it is. It's that collective, it's that family, it's that community, that everyone is connected, everything is connected. So you can't just do one section of the population, not do the other. So I said, all right, they're right. We have to do this for the men. And it's been a big learning experience since, in figuring out how to best do that and to honor the women just like I did the men in a different capacity. So that was the charge that these women pretty much put on me, that I didn't expect at all. Like I said, all right,
Mhm.
this is what I'm doing. But I think it's beautiful because just like the women left there feeling like it impacted their lives for the better, I think it can be the same experience for the men.
Exactly. It's it's very, very important, especially when, like, I've actually sat into different, like, there was one probably maybe several years ago that I sat in, and when I left the retreat, and I felt a little bit better. I actually, because I was there, I ended up building on a relationship that really wasn't, you know, it was just an association. But for some of the things that we spoke about, we didn't realize that we had a couple of things in common. So me and that person end up becoming better and better, much better friends, based on that conversation. And until this day, we still talk and 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 talk about the retreat, and just that circle, because some things, some people don't expect certain things coming from my mouth. Like, maybe I don't expect this coming out of yours, and then all of a sudden it comes into that forum. You're saying, wow, I didn't realize, um like, Eve is so deep, with her poetry. I didn't see that in her. Obviously I seen that, but it's something like that, and
No, that's so real, because I think about the women's retreat. We definitely had those. Sometimes you feel like someone because whatever they do in the community or whatever affiliation, but it was an opportunity to like really see people's authentic side in a way that I think you don't see. And it was a
Mhm.
sacred space. Like a lot of the women say, what was held there, like we don't share that with others because that was like our moment, our time. And I think that's the beauty of it. It's really I would say it's like a little tranquil rest stop in our journey, right? A little oasis for us to pause for a little bit. That's really the big part of it, the reflective process, and to tap into our higher selves. And so often we're so busy with life, with kids, with family, with work, that we don't have that space as much as we would like. So this is a whole day dedicating to just press on pause and listening to the brilliance that we all have inside of us and doing that. And when we do that, you see another side of people. You get a chance to be like, there were folks that were like, you know what, I'm going to go and talk to this person now because why am I being upset or, forgiving someone, So there was just realizations that I say, I don't, when I say healing, I create a healing environment that's intentional in the details, but that's for you to do. We heal our own selves, right? And it's
True.
providing those spaces. And when you can have an authentic conversation with somebody in those spaces, you now can see and build on a relationship in a different way that may be superficial because it's based on where you work or whatever the case, or not even superficial, but it grows in depth because now you have a better understanding and you can relate to that person in a way that you perhaps couldn't before.
True. It's and like you had mentioned, the first brainstorm was to just collectively get with the women and talk, and now it's venturing over to the men. There's also another circle that I had seen, and that was actually couples, and so and then they were doing it. But believe it or not, the most fascinating circle that I've ever been around was with teenagers. And so, and I was the only adult there. Actually, sorry, two others, and so I just wanted to hear what they had to say, and but not being in the circle, but in the far, and just let them exchange and do different things and talk about things that they're going through as teenagers. Now, let me say that was probably late 90s when that happened. So now, I would like to know what's the difference now. These teenagers right now, what are they going through? What are they seeing? Because a lot of things that were there or something they were subject to, maybe it's drinking, drugs, or whatever it may be. What's the difference from the 90s to now? And what are they going through? So that's something that, you give me some more ideas. I already have a full plate. And so now you're putting
No, I think it's real. I mean, all our different sectors need that space. I think with the new, with the younger generation, with teenagers, it's so sometimes, connecting via technology and text messages. So to have spaces that, like you don't have all that. It's like we got to talk. We got to look each other in the eye at times. I think we need that, you know what I mean, to get those spaces for our folks. And the beauty of the, I'm calling the Melanated Kings Retreat, is that it's multi-generations. I think there's power in maybe having an 18-year-old, that's 18 plus, and a 60-year-old or something that can say, like, I understand where you've been. And it's like, I also can see your perspective. Like, I have this new perspective. It's fresh. So I thought it was beautiful to have that different generations, but all still having the same journey to go on. But I love that. And then the couples thing, that may be something in the future, if maybe some of the folks that I'm sure will come was couples from partners of the women from the original one. So it may be something in the future that we'll do, but I'm kind of taking it step at a time, see where spirit guides me with it.
All right. Eva, so who's actually doing this with you as far as
so the way I designed it, similar to the women's retreat, there'll be different presenters doing different components of it. One of them, I can share some of the folks, you may know some of them. There's a brother from Providence, from Rhode Island City. He's a African drummer. So we're going to have the men literally drumming, which is something that historically people have done, right? From Afro-Indigenous roots, using drumming as a way to connect. It's a language. It's a primordial. It relates back to being in rhythm, connects to our heartbeat and connects to us. So, and that's the intentionality of that space, is using the healing arts to connect folks. So there'll be some of that. I'm hoping, and Last time he did 2 that we may get blessed with Emmanuel, the saxophonist, to play his, beautiful sounds. So just a really elegant, upscale kind of vibe, is the intent of the retreat. We also have a brother from Boston, from Nepal, and he's going to be doing some singing bowls, talking about his history with singing bowls. He actually has a store in Boston, in Cambridge on Mass Ave, that he sells these singing bowls. So I think it's giving folks a different perspective on different men, all men of color, different backgrounds, sharing different perspectives on well-being and how we can take care of ourselves. We also have Jonathan Felix, local brother that works at Boys and Girls Club. He's going to give some information too, and sharing and how this can impact our performance and well-being. So there'll be a lot of knowledge sharing and how meditation, for the meditation piece and breath. So it's going to be some of it that's experiential. Actually all of it's experiential, but different folks that have expertise in different areas that can share. So those are some of the folks that will be in the room. There'll be a back massage at lunchtime, which is part of the day that folks get. But it's also a day to just build and relax with other men like yourself and others that have a certain level of maturity and are doing great things in our community.
Nice. I excuse me, clear my throat here. The all those, those, just that group, just those names you just mentioned, you realize that there's still people in our community that don't go outside the city limits. And so, and wouldn't even kind of experience something that like them speaking or performing live, other than seeing a video, even though video is good, but there's something about seeing something live, seeing someone speak, see a keynote speaker just talk right in front of you, so you can see that emotion, and just get away from, you just mentioned about with the kids or the social media, and just have that conversation, because some people, even adults included, they can only communicate through electronics now. It's the only way and only way they can do that. And what happens is you lose something in that electronic communication. You lose something. You lose that feel. That personal effect. You lose all that sometimes. So, the one thing I like about this whole thing is that person to person. I'm a person to person type guy, and I just want to sit. How many people? I mean, this brother just as much as I do, but how many people have known about Dr. Jabril Kazan? And they heard his voice, they heard a video, all right, and they were like, that was so nice, that's beautiful, the video. But then when you get and you sit with him, another like Salah Mateos, and you sit with them and you talk with them, it's different. It's different than a video. And now they can really talk to you about different things and what they went through. So
I was talking to Salah about this just the other day.
Yeah.
And I hope that he'll be able to make it with Sane, possibly, to have someone with that much wisdom, an activist in our community and so much love. So I hope that he's there, to have him in the room with some younger folks, I think is a blessing. But in our conversation, he was like, this is about decolonization. And I was like, that's real. You know what I mean? We've been this colonized mentality of divide and conquer, that you have to be separate. It's this illusion that's all about me. But the reality is, anyone that's really successful in this world is because someone else supported them. They were able to build and create different partnerships and support in different ways. And that's the only way as a community we're really going to grow, this illusion of separation. And I think that's real for all of us, especially for men of color, that so often you feel isolated. So often you may feel like you have no one to talk to and the world's against your back. So this is an opportunity for others to see that there's others that are in the same boat and willing to support. And also to see examples of great men doing that. So it's not only about the negative piece, which we know society has, systematically designed that men of color have all these challenges, but this is a way to combat that in a sense, to say together we're united, we're stronger. It's this place, a healing rest stop on a journey, like I said, and to provide a outlet to kind of let go of some of the things that men of color have on their back every day, that shield that we have to, we women of color, we have too, but especially men of color. I think it's important to have these spaces. It can't be every day, and if you leave there with some with some like, okay, this was kind of dope. I think it's about changing the paradigms about different spaces for our men of color. And for most men of color in our community, this is not something we do, right? We go to the club, we go to parties, we go to watch a sports game, we do this. So I was talking to someone and they were like, it's going to be really hard to get, men on a weekend when it's football season. And I said, I get that, you know what I mean? But I think this is really for someone that is looking to grow in their spiritual journey, looking for something different, a higher frequency, a higher vibration. Because I know for me, that's why I attend these events, to be like, all right, I needed that. We get to these points in life that we're like, all right, I know my cup is really like, there's a lot on my plate. I need to refill. And this is a refilling kind of situation for men with respect, to all that they bring, their brilliance. This is a way to honor them in this Melanated Kings retreat. And I specifically called it Melanated Kings because let me say that I know there's so much beauty and power in our melanin skin, and society so often says the opposite of that. So this is a way to embrace all the brilliance we have. Again, about decolonization, that's the myth they want us to believe, that we have to get all this external, the powers external, when it's really internal. And if we can tap into our internal powers, tap into our wisdom, our brilliance through meditation, through the healing arts that have historically quenched a thirst and provided what we need in life, then we need more spaces of that, as opposed to feeling so isolated because of technology, society, that you feel like, wow, I'm alone. And it's like, this is a way to bypass that line, say, no, actually, there's a lot of spaces that I do feel honored and cared for, and this is an example of that.
Exactly. It's so for me, I need to sign up. So
yes, you do. I want your beautiful presence there. We need you in that space as well.
Yeah. So how would I do that? Through the website?
Sure, you can go to the website, which is my name, evabrittle.com. I'm also on social media, which is my first name. It's Eva with an I, IVAB5, on Instagram as well as Facebook. So through the website, you can sign up for it. It's going to be October 7th, which is the first Saturday in October. It's an all-day retreat from 10 to 6. Food will be provided, as well as all these different experiences that we said. It's $250. And I know, and there are some scholarships available, you folks. And with that, folks hearing that, I was just talking to someone right now, it's like, I want to go, but, I need a scholarship. If there's sponsors, if this is something that's in alignment with your work of giving back to the community, supporting our diverse BIPOC community, and this is a great way to sponsor it, because then I can give more scholarships. But it is $250 for folks that can afford it. And to me, it's an investment itself, a day that you can really spend on yourself, build. I'm sure that, as men always do when you come together, there'll be networking and community building. And I'm hoping it's a seed that will be planted, to be honest. I think that maybe in the future, there's a man speaking about this event. It's supposed to me, this is the first one, but, maybe this will be something that will be passed on to others to lead. It will be led by men of color, but I just think that it's a seed that is planted that can really grow in different ways,
Exactly. And that's what you want. I mean, anything that you're possibly building or creating, you always want someone to take something from that and use it as an inspiration but also having it in the back of your mind, you know what, I can make this better. Not to insult anybody, but to say, I get a better idea. I have this idea. I want to do this. Let me add this to the retreat or to the circle.
Mhm.
And that's, believe it or not, that's the way I was taught. Inspire the next person so they can do the same thing. Whether it's work in the profession that you have, always do something to inspire the next person to kind of be that next mentor. Uh,
Mhm.
and in this case, I would love to see that if it was 10 to 12 brothers sitting in there, I hope that kind of branches out, and now you have 12 more different ones. So now what happens is, so say it's, it can be well over, you know, pretty close to 100 people, all based on what you established today, this month in October rather. Um, so you started out with women, it's leading to men, it's already branching, it's already leveling up, it's already leveling up. So now everyone that goes there, now they have an opportunity to make it even that much better. So
Yeah.
now you have you have your own, tree, you're going to have that even brittle tree
And
branching
I
out
love
all
the
over the place.
tree, so that makes sense. It's really about the different elements connecting with Mother Earth. I'm intentional about the location. It's at Around the Bend Farm, which is a beautiful farm.
That was my next question.
Yep. Which is the executive director there, and she does a great work of really bringing awareness about sustainability to our community and really supporting different initiatives that support BIPOC communities. She was like, yes, definitely have it here. So it's also not just because of the aesthetics and the beauty of the place, but it's also good to support an organization that is about the work. And the food will be by them. So you have good, healthy, local source food as part of the day to nourish your body and mind. So that's exciting that we have that. And I think part of the reason that it is expanding and growing is because it's effective. It's because it was powerful to the women and because they want, to expand that, which is like, to me, so beautiful because it's like that whole, like, Ubuntu giving back and continuing to bring what is needed for our community, right? Like that flourishing of that seed to grow to other things. So I love that's the history of this, but it's needed. It's needed for all sectors and all folks. I just wanted to really start with men of color because to me, that's in a population that needs it very much compared to other populations, and specifically for it to be a safe space, a brave space for men to feel comfortable, and we know depending on who's in the room, it may change that dynamics when there's different backgrounds, but I wanted specifically to support our men of color for this retreat, our melanated kings, as we call it.
I love it. I love it. The you bring in, this is what I like bringing into the podcast is is a conversation, conversation to talk about many things. Now we're here to talk about the retreat, but you and I can go off and talk about many other things, and that's what I like about the podcast is that we can just go ahead and just have this conversation and talk about A through Z, and then get back to the retreat and then talk about it. And that's what I'm looking to try to do every single week that I'm on here.
And I love your podcast and that you're bringing all these different folks from our community, showing, what folks are doing to better the community, different initiatives. I love that. So, that's up to you for what you do as well.
That means a lot. And I mean, I can't thank, the radio station, WNB1 radio, and all the things they're doing, and the plans and the entertainment, from the comedy shows to the different events that we're doing. They have definitely been so supportive, especially with me in this podcast. It's great to have a place. I mean, I wish you were here to see this fabulous building.
I gotta go. Today was kind of hectic, so I wasn't able to make it there, but I definitely want to go. And I agree. I see all the great things that the radio station's doing. I've been to some of the events. I want to give a shout out to Margarita, and she's one of the sponsor of her organization, a J&J Driving School. And she said, absolutely, and I think about, her father, which was also a great man in our community. I know he would have been about supporting it. So it's about, giving back and supporting. So I shout out to her. And, this is a great opportunity to sponsor an event that is going back to our community that's going to directly impact, our folks in our community that can better them in their lives moving forward. And sometimes those changes you can't really quantify, right? If you have an experience there that really impacts you, that says, you know what, I've been feeling this way, I've been saying I want to do this, but today I'm going to step up and change this situation. You can't really put a dollar amount to that. So
Exactly.
It's so important for our community.
Yeah, it is. As as the day goes, and mention Margarita doing fabulous things. Brian's here. Brian's every day doing something, and I always joke around with the guys and girls in the station. I said, you can't give him 7 days. He's going to be a change. He's going to do something, change for the better. So it's like going to class. You come into the studio, and then, hey, we got this to do. I added this, so there's always class. He's definitely one of the professors here at WNB1 Radio, just doing his thing. I mean, I got taught a few things tonight, and that's the one thing about it, is that we don't settle here. WNB1 Radio is not settling where they are, where they're just plateauing. They're always looking to make steps and increase their level, and that's the one thing I'm glad. It's so glad it's in the city, from Mags in the morning, first thing in the morning, you get to listen to some music, a little news, have some discussion. You got my podcast on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, we got some entertainment with live DJ. Thursday, straight to the point, sports talk. I mean, I love watching that show just as much as I like clicking on ESPN. My boys are coming on, they're going to talk sports. I get to click it on, listen to them for a couple of hours. And then now it's football season. So after the show, we all put the game on. We go home, put the game on, and chill out. So there's so many things. Ed Blends going live from Oklahoma, and that's here. That's all coming from this station. This New Bedford's own, Black owned, Latino owned station doing its thing.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
So, and then speaking of leveling up, I mean, your own brother and Tony, they're sponsors. They're sponsors here, they're doing their thing here. And then one thing about those two is they said, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And it's like they're men of their word, and they latched on, so, and the craziest thing is that they do that. And we've been trying to get Margarita to do a commercial. and look what she does. She does, she's Express Laundry. She does their first commercial, which was great.
Oh, awesome. I haven't heard it, actually. I got to check it out. I got to hear it.
I have to play it. It's real good. She did a great job.
And those brothers, they're attending, so we'll have them, and then awesome selves as well. So they'll be a great bunch of folks, a great bunch of men.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Eva. Well, I don't know what you want to add to this. I never get enough of you. Never get enough of you. So I just, if you want to end this podcast with anything you want to add, feel free. You want to talk?
I'll just again state the information. It's the Melanated Kings Retreat happening October 7th at Around the Bend Farm from 10 to 6 p.m. You can find out more through my social media, which is Eva B5, Eva with an I, or going straight to the website, which is evabrito.com. And it's a day for our Melanated Kings to come together, to build, to work on self-reflection, on purpose, and with amazing men in our community, with amazing facilitators and presenters. And to me, it's an opportunity for our men to do something different, but still in alignment with unity and raising our conscience as a people, and all based on love.
Awesome. Well, like I said, I'll get in touch. I'll go on the website, get that taken care of ASAP, and add to the numbers that you're already going to have there. And I'll spread the word. I'm going to continue every day until that date to kind of put it out there on social media, my social media, so I can spread the word.
I appreciate you for doing that. For the men, for spreading it. For the women, it might be a great gift for your man. Like I said, sometimes you want to give your partner something and you're not sure what that could be. This could be that day. That would be an awesome gift for the right individual.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I slowly agree with you. All right, let's do this again. We definitely.
It's always a pleasure. Whether we're talking about poetry, art, retreats, it's always a pleasure to build and talk to you. So I'm sure we'll talk about poetry soon. You're making me think of the class I taught with the Z. I might have to bring that back.
Yes, I agree.
That was nice to have you. But always a pleasure.
I would love to do that. I want to do another slam poetry through the internet, here from the radio station. I'd like to invite different people, recite their own poetry, do that coming up soon. I got to do that because we did it on Fireside. We did it on the other platform. It's very, very successful. And we had different people from all over the country.
Oh, wow.
And the craziest thing is that the judges I didn't know them at all. They were from another state, and they were very impressed with every New Bedford poet that was on there. And it
comes out strong, regardless of what category, if it's sports, if it's arts. New Bedford always represents. Yeah,
and they were very, very impressed. Actually, we were able to build some friendships just based on that slam, So, but all right, Eva. Well, love you to death, and you need me, give me a holler, and we'll keep in touch.
Love you too. I appreciate you, and always a pleasure.
All right, and this podcast is actually on YouTube right now. It's live on YouTube. I put it on your page on Facebook, so I don't know if you have to give it the approval, but I did send it to your feed, so you'll have it there. And once I get home, I'll be able to put it on Spotify by tomorrow afternoon. So, all right.
All right. Thank you. As always, many blessings to you and your family.
Thank you. Eva Brito from www.evabrito.com. Check out the retreat. Come join me. It's going to be fabulous. I cannot wait. And also, support all this local interest. Things are good. Going to be in a good venue, and let's keep it up. All right, Eva, I'm going to end this podcast with my favorite song from Lionel Peter Walker. Did my intro. I'm so proud of this. Another local dude. So I try to tie everything locally, as far as music, everything. So, all right, my dear, you have a great night. And as far as the listeners out there on WNB One Radio, continue to listen. I'm going to play some music. And we have another podcast coming up in about 30 minutes from now. Mass High will be on here. We'll have Lizette Perry along with Derek Baptiste. Will be in the studio in a few minutes. All right, everyone. God bless. Take care.
Peace and blessings.
All right. Back at you.
It's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bumping through your broadcast. Grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bumping through your broadcast. Grab a chair, fill your glass.